Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I'm delighted you could find me. I'm delighted that you're spending some time with me today. Just before I came on to record this, I did check my numbers, and I am a couple of handfuls away from hitting 1,700 subscribers. You people are amazing, just amazing. Obviously, could not have done it without you. So thank you very, very much. I do appreciate the continued and ongoing support. I love the comments, the subscriptions, the likes. All of it is brilliant. I have a question, and the first question I'm going to ask today is about Nancy Pelosi. There's a lot going on with that situation. It's very fluid. It sort of gives you the impression that it's not. It gives you the impression that it's sort of stagnant and she's just holding the line and she's not moving. But in fact, that situation really feels very, very fluid, like things are constantly being watched, evaluated, reassessed. So let's take a look at what's going on, with Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. Okay, one more shuffle, come on down, and let's see what we see. Nancy Pelosi, Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Democrats. Oh, sorry, there's a puppy outside who wants to be barking. Okay, so I'm just going to pause this until that dog stops. Sorry about that. Of course, on the upside, at least it wasn't my two yappy dogs. Okay. Couple of things. This is going to end well, okay? Whatever path ends up being taken, she has tricks up her sleeve that nobody has even thought of yet, okay? She has been in this game for a very, very long time. And even though it frustrates people and even though it's frustrating members of her party, she has a very clear strategy for the way she's moving. I want to talk a little bit. This is about the young, new members of the Democratic Party. Those 3 or 4 young women who were elected during the 2018 election cycle. And they seem to be among the most vocal in terms of pushing back on her and kind of fighting publicly with her decisions and what she wants to do. She's like, they're not like falling in line. So I get that. I understand it. I love their energy and the passion that they have brought to this. But they all reside in districts that are bluer than blue. And so they're a reflection of what their very, very blue constituents want. And because of their sort of inexperience when it comes to politics and the way politics sometimes has to work. There's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of negotiating that goes on to get things to move forward. They just sort of are neglecting to see the picture from a broader perspective. They're very much of the, the attitude of, well, this is what's right and this is what I want and I'm just going to keep pushing for it. I don't criticize it, I don't judge it, but I do say that if they're not careful, they could very much end up being kind of considered the Democratic version of the Tea Party, a group of people who are just so determined that things must be their way that they're not. Wow, isn't this like the busy little household? Okay, so that young group, they're really showing a real reluctance to look at things from a broader perspective, and it's causing some friction where kind of there doesn't need to be. There is a lot of judgment, absolutely, raining down on Nancy Pelosi's head. And I'm not saying that in some ways she doesn't deserve it. I mean, they're getting closer and closer to a time where this whole situation needs to be moved forward. But it will be, and it will be, successful. It's going to work to the advantage of people who want Trump out. And I've said this before, I'm sure a couple of times, that they want to ensure, the Democrats want to ensure, especially the older established one, the ones who have been in this game a really long time. I'm thinking of the Schumers and the Nadlers and Pelosi and you know what? Yep. They're old and they've been around for a long time, and it may well be time that they considered moving on. But in a crisis, and make no mistake, America, you are in a crisis. Sometimes the best thing to fight that is wisdom. People who have a great deal of experience and understand they're in there fighting with a novice. Trump doesn't know his, ass from his elbow when it comes to politics. So he can be brought down, but they have to make sure that they do it in such a way that he is brought down completely. So they're right now getting their ducks in an order. They're putting things in order, and the time is going to come, and I suspect it's going to be in the fall, either late August, perhaps, after Labor Day, when there's going to be some really dramatic movement forward. There's your dramatic movement forward. That's just how it's going to be. So be patient. Trust that she has the advantage in this situation. She has a strategy. It's going to result in a great deal of success, and people are going to end up being very, very happy. And somewhere along the line, some of those, young whippersnappers who just want it now are going to learn, a couple of things about strategy and how sometimes, even though it is incredibly frustrating, you have to move strategically to ensure that you get to the goal you are trying to achieve. I know, I get it. There's a lot of emotions about this. People want her to move forward, and they want her to have done it yesterday. And the more she's pushed, the more she sort of develops a very sort of like defensive and almost like aloof attitude. Sort of that I will not be questioned. And frankly, she should maybe adjust that a little bit, because it's really not doing her any favors. She is ending up being perceived as sort of one of the dinosaurs, and who is not willing to change. Do not for a minute think that she doesn't have the ideas, that she doesn't have a strategy, and she is playing to win. Nothing short of getting him out of office and having him removed is going to do. And while it is true she wants to see him in jail, and he may well end up going down that road, but between now and then, she is going to play an instrumental role in bringing him down. It's part of her karma, it's part of her destiny, and it's part of what she's going to do. I want to say, though, that she's going to do it in a way that ensures success. If I had to guess, I would honestly say it's very, very possible that in some past life, because of course all of these politicians, all these people were all interconnected before. They're not strangers to each other in terms from a karmic perspective. They've done this dance before in different ways at different times. I almost want to say that there's something in her past where she went after him. She tried to get him for something. She tried to bring him down, and she wasn't successful. And what she learned from that was sometimes slow and easy wins the race. Sometimes when you rush forward and you bow to hot emotions, you just end up with a hot mess. So I don't know if that's going to bring you people comfort. I'm hoping that it will at least give you a slightly different perspective, so that you can understand that while it is very frustrating, in the end, it's going to work the way she wants it to work. And that's a good thing, because ultimately he needs to go, but he needs to go in such a way so that he is not left with, the ability to yip and yap and carry on and insert his opinions all over the place after the fact, okay? He needs to be silenced. Excuse me, just hang on a second. My throat's drying out on me. So, this morning, I heard a few things that were kind of concerning. So one is that Trump is planning on signing an executive order to force the citizenship question in the census. That's just going to get hung up in a whole bunch of legal maneuvering. That's not going to ultimately work. And I've covered that in another reading about what his motivation may very well be following that census and looking for that census. They have announced that, once again, they're going to start those immigration raids this coming Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if that might actually get postponed a little bit. But the other side of it is, it very well may go ahead, because at this point, Trump is very much looking for a distraction from the Epstein thing. This is becoming a nightmare for him, a publicity nightmare. He can't escape it. He keeps getting drawn in. Yesterday, the story about, the 28 girls that were brought in for a private party with Epstein and Trump. This is not good. And so he's going to be looking for a diversion. And if it's not the immigration raids, it's going to be something. So, brace yourself, because the insanity is about to become amplified. What was the other thing I saw? Oh yeah, apparently he's having some sort of a summit at the White House because he wants to he feels that, social media has this bias against him and against conservative, politicians. And so he's creating this summit so they can strategize and figure out how to push back. God, he just doesn't stop, Let's just attack the free press some more. Let's just attack everybody and anybody who doesn't like what I have to say. Although on that note, it was kind of cool that one of the court systems did rule that he cannot block people on Twitter who don't agree with him. So that gave me a bit of a chuckle, even though I don't do the whole Twitter thing. So there's a lot of stuff that's spinning around. Oh, and the other thing I saw this morning that really concerned me, it's actually what precipitated the question, was apparently the Republicans are setting in motion. They're pulling away or pulling out of something that allowed rebates to be issued for prescription prices and prescription drugs. So what that means is, instead of prescription prices coming down, even though I understand that in your country they're appalling, what he's doing is actually going to benefit big pharmaceutical, and those prices are going to go up. So this is my question. What does this mean for Trump going forward? Not in this life, but what kind of a karmic price is he likely to pay for the harm that he is doing not only that he has done in his entire lifetime, but especially the harm that he is causing literally to the masses, right? To everyone, with the decisions, and the behaviors that he is exhibiting and practicing. I'm just going to put you on pause so I can grab that card. Okay, so I want to know Trump's future karma. And again, remember I've said that karma is determined not so by your good deeds, yes, but more importantly, karma, especially negative karma that where you have to atone, is not caused so much by a bad deed as much as it is caused by, or it's created by the harm you caused others. Okay, so the greater the harm, the greater, frankly, the karmic price that ends up being paid. So I want to just go forward in time a little bit and understand it is not for me to pass judgment. It is not for me to assign karma. But the universe works in a very clear way. If you cause karma consequences, you pay them. It's not like it goes to some high court and goes to a jury and a bunch of angels up there are making a decision and saying, oh, you're going to pay for that, or oh, no, you're not, that's fine. It's simply the way the universe rolls forward. You do it, you're going to pay for it. Or you do it and you're going to get rewarded for it. It's not a sit in judgment thing. It's just karma. So come on down and let's see if we can go forward a little bit in time and see how this might be impacting Trump in future lives. Trump's karma, Trump's karma, Trump's karma. That which he sees as his strength, that which he believes makes him strong and special, is going to be reversed in future lifetimes. He is going to spend, I would say, a little bit of time, perhaps many, 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 many lifetimes, living the life of those people he so dislikes, disregards, and just injures by just the cruelty and the evilness of the way he behaves and the way his thoughts process. From what I have gathered, in previous existences, certainly for the last several most recent lifetimes, Trump has always lived sort of, to some degree or another, kind of the life he has led now. He has always, he's been white for a lot of them. He has been either in the higher sort of echelons, if you will, of society, or he was in jobs that exerted power over people who were less able, less wealthy, he has no compassion in him. And he is going to come back and be exactly what and who he so disparaged in this life. So Trump can expect that he is going to spend several lifetimes being in the minority, whatever the minority looks like by the time he comes back around the next time. So he will understand, or he will be given, if nothing else, the opportunity to understand that, we're all the same. A little DNA here and DNA there may alter, the color of our skin or the size of our nose or how big our feet are, but we're all the same. We're all cut from the same cloth. And he doesn't understand that. He thinks his cloth is silk and everybody else's is burlap. So he's going to spend a bunch of lifetimes in burlap. He will be regretting a great deal of his choices, but regret isn't enough by this point. At this point, it needs to be processed and understood, and he needs to live on the other side. He is going to come back and spend time imprisoned, whether that is literally, in a prison or in some situation that is reminiscent of exactly what he is doing to those people in those horrible, inhumane, vile conditions in those detention camps. He is going to come back sick and infirmed, and because he has to learn and atone for the decisions he has made that is harmful, dangerous, and in some cases actually destroying people's lives and their well-being. I'm not talking about one life with all of this stuff. I'm talking about a bucket of them, where he's going to be given the opportunity to set this right, to understand, to make better choices. Does he do that? Probably not. Probably not. He's going to have a lot of emotional issues in future lives, because all of the behaviors and attitudes that have built up over many successive past lives, he's going to have to fight against and try to achieve some sort of a balance with going forward. And it's going to be hard. It's not going to be something he's going to solve in a couple of lifetimes. It's something that he is going to be fixing for a good long while. We are not supposed to take pleasure from other people's misfortune, and that was not my intention of doing this reading in this way. My intention was to simply take a look and see if we could get some idea of some of the avenues where he is most likely to have created issues where atonement is necessary. So he's going to be a minority. He's not going to be wealthy. He's going to be needing. He's going to be needing help from society and other people, and he will not receive it. He's going to be ill. There may very well be situations where literally he's just seen as less than, whether that is because of his skin color, his station in life, his sex, whatever it is. You can rest assured that he will be given opportunities to find a more light-filled way to conduct himself. Whether he takes those opportunities, your guess is as good as mine. But I do believe he's in for a bit of a bumpy ride, not only for the balance of this life experience, but for many, many lifetimes going forward. The atonement that he has sort of racked up in the last 2 years, never mind the preceding 70, the karmic scales are so imbalanced. It's like there is nothing you can say that he has done so well that he gets some credit. It's all just weighing down heavily on that scale. And he's not in a good place, and I don't believe he's going to be in a good place going forward. So while we do not take joy in what may be coming down the road for him, we can at least take some comfort in the sure knowledge that there is balance coming. So that's it for now. Take care. Be well. and we'll see you really soon. Bye.